Are science and religion connected? How does consciousness arise from matter? How does our subjective understanding arise from an objective reality? Is it even possible? Or maybe it's the objective reality that can arise from the subjective reality as a reflection of how we think? These questions are not new by any means. From ancient philosophers, mathematicians, alchemists to modern scientists, different answers have been proposed, and these answers have formed everything we know and love around us. But to try to look into these answers more in detail, we need a place to start. So let's start by alchemy, and more specifically the idea that I'd like to call the dichotomy of matter and transformation. You probably already know that alchemists were after gold, right? They were the ones after the legendary philosopher's stone, a material that is supposedly capable of turning base metals into gold. What are the base metals anyway? So the base metals are metals like copper, aluminium or lead that are common and can usually interact with the environment and corrode easily. While on the other hand, there are these noble metals like gold that are way more rare and more resistant to corrosion. And it's exactly why they are more valued in basically all human societies. But why did the alchemists believe that base metals could even be transformed to gold? Well, because they believed that all matter was connected through the process of change. This is after all how we experience life, right? Time passes and things change. For example, we cook a meal, we overcook it, and it just turns to carbon. Well, in that case, how can we generalize these observations to form a model of the universe that then we can use later to make gold from other metals, just like a meat can be turned into carbon? So most alchemists modeled the world through a dual lens of matter and its transformation or transmutation. Now, what if I tell you we still see the world in this manner? In mathematics, for example, we traditionally have variables and functions. Think about it. For example, you can have, a equals to 2 and then function of a equals to 2 times a. Here, essentially the variables and functions are the abstract representations of matter and transformations, which is basically inherited from ancient times. All of classical physics is based on forming models from what we can objectively measure, like the length of a material, into having base units for these objective measurements. These base units and these models can then give rise to more abstract concepts like speed, acceleration, and energy. These models can then be tested in any possible scenario that we can think of, so that we can use them in those tested scenarios with more confidence. And thus, science is born. As science evolved, so did our understanding of matter, and mathematics became the language used to describe the whole universe. In a way, math reflects an ideal, abstract version of reality, a world of objective truth and certainty. But even within the precision of mathematics, transformation remains a fundamental concept. In the 20th century, the boundaries between objective matter and subjective experience were challenged once again, this time by quantum physics and neuroscience. On a subatomic level, particles don't behave like solid objects at all. They exist in multiple states at once and can change based on observation, a concept famously demonstrated by the double-slit experiment. Modern neuroscience adds another layer to this puzzle. Brain scans reveal that emotion, thoughts, and consciousness itself are tied to physical process, neurons firing chemicals, interacting circuits being activated. In other words, subjective experiences, what we think of as the mind, are deeply connected to objective physical matter, the brain. So from ancient alchemy to the latest discoveries in quantum mechanics and neuroscience, the connection between matter and transformation continues to evolve. What was once mystical is now seen through the lens of science, but the question remains, can the world be seen as a simple dichotomy of matter and transformation? If the universe can be modeled by only two concepts of matter and transformation, then what it means is that the subjective, our emotions, thoughts, or consciousness, is just another form of the objective. But not a base matter, but a noble transformed matter. After all, everything we know as mental stems from physical interaction in the brain. Or maybe it is the other way around. The alchemists believed, however, that there may be more to this. Transformation, in their view, isn't just physical, it can be existential. Our thoughts and emotions might not be mere byproducts of matter, they could be an essential expression of it. The subjective is not a detached observer but an active participant in reality's constant transformation. The subjective is part of the objective and the other way around. We are not separate from nature, we are all one. This idea is not new by any means and have existed for thousands of years, since it is essentially the description of monotheism. In this light, the dichotomy of matter and transformation points to a profound unity. The objective and subjective aren't opposed, but are interconnected, two expressions of the same underlying reality. Just as matter transforms, so do our thoughts, our emotions, and our consciousness. The objective gives rise to the subjective reality, and the subjective reality tries to understand and gives rise to the objective reality, and so on and so forth, in an eternal loop. So the next time you experience joy, sadness, or even wonder at the mysteries of the universe, remember that you are participating in a process as old as time itself, the transformation of matter into meaning. Death, in this view, is no longer the end, since our egocentric existence is just a part of the universe itself. Our death is not an end if we can live on in our children and the younger generation, for they are us, our bodies are only wilted leaves on the tree of life. Albert Einstein.